Hey lads, how you doing? This is going to be a little hobby vlog here. I'm just going to give you a little bit of an update on little things I've been working on, and actually some things I've finished surprisingly. So first up here, these guys are from a Cool Mini or Not game called Hate, and they have a fantastic kick-ass range of crazy kind of monsters and kind of really barbaric, extreme looking big muscular crazy guys. I'm going to pop up some pictures there and you'll see what I mean, but this is a little set that I found a nice deal on eBay, and this is, we'll say, the Barbarian here just for scale. And you'll see these guys are pretty nicely detailed. Now this is a quick paint job I did just with some gloomy colors as well. I didn't do anything too bright just to fit in with the look. And what I kind of did as well, you might notice, is I've doubled up on some of the weapons so they looked a little bit different. And this is just simple kind of flat colors with some washing, and then I think I might maybe highlighted a tiny bit, but not a lot. You'll see here, just the switch in the weapon is sometimes all you need just to make something a little bit different looking. And they're fucking cool looking. Like, this guy's really extreme. Like, that's a badass kind of guy here, and he's got some kind of severed hands, and so there's lots of kind of potential you can imagine with these guys. Like, that's a chunky guy. That's a boss if I've seen. And then you got this kind of massive ogre skull collector, kind of bone collector looking guy. Now I've seen crazy paint jobs of these online. These are nothing. These are just really quick, kind of slapped together. You'll notice the black, the nun oil, what's it called? This stuff from Games Workshop. You'll see it was used a fair bit on these guys, and in the recesses it does, you know, create the shade, but it also doesn't create a very hard shadow like here. That looks pretty bad in my opinion, but you know, it is quite a quick paint job that I did, and I kind of just wanted to get something on them because they look so cool. And like I said, with the few that I might have flashed up there, you'll see the kind of fantastic range and crazy kind of designs as well. Really nice style. I think I really like it. I might pick up some more. But these guys could be used for kind of barbarians, kind of wildling type guys, very, you know, rough and ready type looking dudes, slavers, or they collect bones or something like that. They seem to have a lot of skulls and that kind of thing. So that's kind of them scale wise against a 28mm guy. I think that fits in perfectly. And this guy's pretty chunky, like, so you can imagine these guys squaring up to each other. It's pretty sweet, like. But that's the first set, guys, and I'll move on to something next. So next up, guys, this is something completely different again. I actually don't know where I got the inspiration for this, but you'll see it's a bit different. These guys are kind of, I'm going to call them shard beasts because I have no real better name for them at the moment. But basically it's armature, really thin wire armature with some hot glue on top of it just to give it some bulk and strength, and then you're sticking with super glue. It's just some plastic little shapes on top of it to create these kind of weird, not exactly realistic, obviously not realistic, but abstract kind of shapes and beasts. And you can see they kind of have limbs and stuff like this. And then those are the first two that I did, and then they kind of turned into, you know, they kind of made a bit more sense. They have some kind of weaponry. This one has kind of a head and spines and legs, and these ones are kind of more like scorpion like, which were a lot of fun. And you can, I don't have a full kind of lore on these guys made up yet, but they're very fun and fast to make. And the color scheme I went with, I was pretty happy with. They were quite vibrant and otherworldly, like they're quite strong colors. And you'll see they're really, really easy to make, right? And then I kind of went and made them, I don't know if these be kind of leaders or controllers, but you'll see this is just some foam board that I kind of used to bulk it out, and then over that you've got the hot glue, and then you've got this plastic stuck over it. Now the plastic is literally, this is in the mind of recycling, guys. It's literally just chopped up little bits of bottles, like that's a 7-Up bottle, and you've got little bits of just other little transparent plastic, you know, just for the little spines and that kind of thing. If you can imagine, like, this is all packaging, you know, like that's just from top of a bottle, you know, that's just going to be thrown out anyway. So it is kind of recycling, you know. And then you've got this as well, which is just from, I think it was like paintbrushes or something like that, so I can chop that up and create more spines and spikes and weapons, and you know. And the weird thing is with these is, so this is thin wire with hot glue over it, so they're still quite posable even when they're painted. Now these guys aren't fully finished. This is kind of still experimenting with the color scheme in a way. But they're really weird and kind of alien, and I think, you know, there could be something cool to them that I know I kind of just went with it and didn't really come up with lore or come up with any kind of stats or any ideas like that for it. So if you have any ideas, that'd be cool. But I don't know if they control each other or if it's some kind of like, I could do a terrain set with them and they would, you know, spawn from that or something like that. Because they're these shards from potentially another world, because they're so strange and they're not organic looking, you know. They're a lot of fun to put together though. They're very kind of freeing, you know. You can kind of go crazy with them, and I'm kind of planning on making bigger ones again, like if you can imagine like a queen or something, that kind of idea. Now you'll see this one I left just so you can kind of see what I mean. That's just foam there covered with hot glue, and then you'll see all the arms and tentacles. I suppose they're more tentacles, and the hot glue. And the hot glue is, you know, quite forgiving. It is just kind of to create a contrast between the very sharp shapes, the sharp and flat shapes of all these spines and plates against the really organic, kind of flowing, goopy looking, I suppose the effect of the hot glue just in the nature of it in itself. So that's another one of these kind of floaty ones here. They kind of remind me of Tyranids as well, or Tyranids, or for 40k. You could really make them make a whole army of Tyranids like that. You know, these could be like zone tropes, and you could make kind of a more standardized look one of these, and it could be your Hormagaunts and that kind of thing. But yeah, I can imagine being some kind of invasion into the world, into a fantasy world, because they're so different and strange. They could potentially start mutating creatures, and you could, you know, have your dire crocodile with these kind of spines sticking off the back, these really different color spines, and it would start mutating and that kind of thing, so with tentacles and all. So that could be really cool as well. But as it goes, just if you can imagine, if you're in kind of lockdown at the moment and you don't really have a ton of materials, that it's kind of to look at things that you've had, like these little bits of plastic. You could just throw them out. You're probably going to have them from food anyway, and you could chop them up and kind of have a go. You could use them for armor plates, you could use them for something like this, or something completely new, guys, you know what I mean? So I'd say just take a second look at what you have and see if it's any good, and have some fun coming up with some weird otherworldly creatures. Last up here, guys, these are a lot of fun. This is kind of a little bit of green stuff messing around I've been working on at the last while, really. So let's start with these. These originally were going to be just called swarms of gnomes. So these really simple little crazy gnomes on these small MDF bases here. This guy's going to get a little spear, and I'll give him a little spike on it as well, by this tiny little goofy face. Now these were kind of spares of green stuff I had, as well as just a little bit of fun as well. This guy, I need to give him another hand here and some kind of weapon. Just little fairy tale creatures, and they'll be fun to paint up, and just kind of goofiness to have some fun with green stuff and just experiment with different little tools. I made a tool recently that was a needle on a little handle, and it really let me get in to make these tiny little holes and that kind of thing. So I'm really enjoying that, really enjoying using that. Let me see if I can actually dig it out. Basically, look, that's an old paintbrush, and it's just got some that was drilled. I drilled into it a wee bit and put a needle into it, and then put some green stuff around it just to strengthen it a bit. It's not exactly centered, but it works, and just that little top lets you get into the detail nicely, just to do little eyes and mouth and stuff like this. Now it's not obviously the most professional way of using it, like that's pretty simple, but as a bit of fun to make these little gnomes and little fairy tale creatures. Like this guy's got a little knife here just with some plastic and some big ears. Just experiment to get more used to it. This guy as well kind of just turned into a worm. He looks like Worm from Worms, you know, like the video game, but he's got a little hat on. And then I'm going to put another weird little creature here. So they're going to be like swarm. I don't know if it's exactly a swarm, but a little group of fairy tale creatures. So going on from that, kind of just experimenting with different materials. So this is the stuff from, you know, just doing the washing up, say a scrubber. This stuff people use it for making hedges and that, but I like the texture and that kind of thing. So I was trying to incorporate it into little creatures. If you can imagine, they like would live in the woods, or they might live in a hedge and stuff like this. So you'll see this goblin with this kind of mischievous smiling face. Actually, looking at it from that close on this camera, makes it look not as good as it looks in real life. You can see my mistakes, but I think it's fine. And you'll see these big ears are actually supported by plastic. Like I was saying before with the shard beast, this is just plastic from a 7-Up bottle to create the structure, and then I can sculpt on top of it after, so it's a lot easier. Now this guy's I'm going to give him some arms. He's going to be giggling and he'll be mischievous, and you'll see that's just pinned in there just for his legs. That one's not so much, but this one is the main one, just for a little bit of sculpting fun. And you'll see his eyes, I might fix them up a wee bit, but with a bit of paint it'll work. Now just for the texture for the skin is simply, you know, little dot, just to create some kind of texture in it. There's tiny little imperfections and wrinkles and that kind of thing, and a little mischievous smile, so he's going to be a lot of fun to paint up. Next up, this guy as well. This little Garvin was originally going to go on the base here, but he just became too cool, so I had to give him his own little mount here. This was just a bead, and the same thing again, I had extra green stuff, so I gave him this. He's quite sad looking actually, poor guy. He's going to have these little elephant looking limbs, and I'll put 2 more here, maybe a little tail as well, I'm not sure, and he's got 2 horns, and then the goblin's going to be sitting on top of him with his little legs and his belly, and just, I don't know, that's it. There's no, you know, I'm not doing this to create a particular monster, it's just to have a bit of fun. And I think it'll be a lot of fun to paint these up. You'll see here as well, these ears are the same kind of idea. The supports were made with the plastic from a 7-Up bottle, so I'm really kind of expanding that. I'm thinking of potentially using it for little fairy wings and stuff like that as well, because it's quite strong, and if you find the right color, it could take ink quite well. If you had it transparent, and you could keep it transparent, that's actually something that I might try, to have that kind of fairy wing effect that's kind of transparent, if you understand me, like a dragonfly. So that could be something to look into. But yeah, just a little bit of fun there as well. This one is a little bit more finished. I'm going to get some paint on him. It's kind of turned into a little diorama. You see this little guy, and he's kind of a little hedge folk, I'm going to start calling them potentially, kind of different fairies, little fey sprites and this kind of thing. So this is the stuff here from cleaning the dishes. You'll see, so he's on his base and that kind of thing, and he's actually made of it himself. He's got some leaves, and he's got this little cute face here, if that'll focus on me. I think that's good. And he's got 2 little arms, and he's got some little curly boots as well, just some green stuff. And that's I'm gonna paint this up so he's, you know, camouflaged, and he's quite small, like, you know, even for 28mm. That's gonna focus for me. No. Yeah, so he's a tiny little guy. You know, I don't have any stats or anything or any ideas like that, but I just think he's a lot of fun. And years ago, I was at a convention, and it was books. I think it was just books, a book sale, and they had this fairy sprite book. If I can find a cover for it, I'll pop it up now. And these sprites were so kind of realistic and strange to me. I remember as a kid, and I tried to search for it on Google when I was kind of making these guys up, and I only found it recently. So I might try make some more based on them, just for fun, you know. And they're quite quick to put together, and they're cute little fake creatures, but they're really, I don't know, quite believable to me in a way of fairies. Not that I believe in fairies, but you know, I am Irish, so you know, leprechauns and all. Okay, I'm just going to pop this bit in, guys. After the video, I actually went ahead and painted this little guy up, and you'll see the details really close. There's not a lot of crazy sculpting work put in there. I think the hardest thing I did was give him those little curly little shoes in there, but I think scale wise I actually love him. I think he's great. Little tiny little forest sprite guy, and I think I'm going to enjoy making more little tiny hedge folk, we'll say, because you'll see how small I can get with him. Maybe I can figure out some more little materials, like maybe feathers and tiny little sticks and stuff, because that's little twigs and little like green tea and tiny bit of sand as well, just for the texture there. And I think they work out pretty well. A lot of fun, this tiny little guy. But anyway, guys, yeah, back to the video. This guy is from Arcane Forge's Axolotl or something like this. It's called. I'll pop it up anyway. I'll pop up the picture. And I actually started making this as I was watching the video, and it just came together pretty quickly. Now, I'm not experienced in sculpting full miniatures. I'm kind of learning as I go. You'll see the anatomy here is a bit wobbly and all over the place, even if it is a fantasy creature. But the idea is to get as close as I can, put some, you know, clothes on him, and I'll sculpt something here in his hand and this kind of thing. But yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's a lot of fun. I would recommend not to use such thin wire. This wire I've been using for a lot of things is actually from hanging up decorations. It's not the strongest. It's a little bit wobbly now. It's grand now that I put green stuff on it, but at the start it was very, very wobbly and unsure. And you'll see on his face here, if that wants to focus for me. Yeah, so he's got a wee smile and everything, but this is from toothbrush bristles, just to create those little antennae he's got, and I'll figure out. Maybe I'll just put Mod Podge on them or something. But anyway, that's him. Last up then. This guy's coming along great, actually. This guy's a lot of fun. In my last hobby vlog, I think it was, I did kind of a haul on what I got out of a bin or a dumpster, a skip. And this guy was a farmer, and he was very kind of crappy. He's kind of crappy looking, but I saw kind of potential in him, and I built up on him, and he's nearly finished. So you'll see he's got a fair bit of green stuff worked on him. He's got the bear pelt, nice beard. My favorite bit is his sweet mullet here. He's got a sweet mullet, and I kind of extended his nose just to make it a bit more kind of, but I don't know, tough looking. He's got big ears. He kind of looks like your man from The Hobbit, the guy that can turn into a bear. I don't know if anyone remembers him. Shoulder pad needs some work, but he does have a comb and a pair of scissors to keep his beard and his mullet looking sick. So that's looking fresh, you know. That's what you want. That's the stuck on with blue tack. Yeah, so it's not all great. It's not 100%. Like, you know, the hand isn't the best. It's okay. This kind of chainmail stuff is some kind of fabric I found that I thought looked like chainmail, so I just used that. You've got a shield here for a belt buckle because I thought that was a good idea because he's so big. He's a Goliath like, and he's got some little bits and bobs here. And I had him on a base originally with this little guy here, but I had to take him off because I asked for advice on Discord, and they said, you know, his boots didn't look great. They were just sneakers. They were just, you know, modern looking boots or sneakers, so I had to kind of take him off. And I'll just give him some fantasy boots there, and he's going to look a lot better on this bit of base here. And his axe, he's got his little hand on it, and yeah, the axe isn't anything amazing either, but I think when it comes together, it's going to look really cool. I'm pretty happy with him. I think that's it, guys. I think that's kind of what I've been working on. Hopefully I get some of this stuff finished up and get them out to you. These little sprites I'm really enjoying at the moment. They're a lot of fun. I'd recommend people to, you know, things like this and things like the plastic, you're probably going to have it around your house. If you're stuck for materials, or, you know, you're looking for inspiration, maybe to look around and see what's there and just have a go at it, and stick some green stuff on it, put a face on it. It might be a bit of fun, you know. But I would say keep going with the hobby. Well, once we have this lockdown and quarantine still on, you may as well be making use of it, and we'll see what we can come up with and how we are out the other end of it. But anyway, guys, yeah, thanks for watching.